This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Liam Williams over Zoom. Liam, how are you doing?
I'm very good, mate. Very good. Plugging away, training hard. Everything's going good. I can't wait to be back out again. I'm excited about the new fight news, and yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, it's good to hear. Now, obviously, you've got a fight date finally announced when you're facing Andrew Robinson come October 10th. Just talk to me about why Andrew, Liam.
So obviously, it's not really the fight which I wanted for this date. I would have liked to have been fighting for a world title or have already fought for it. Like originally, it was meant to take place back in, I can't really remember. I think it was like May, maybe. And then obviously with everything that's going on right now, it's kind of easing up now. But with everything that was going on in the thick of it, it was just bad timing. And I'm just really happy that MTK and Frank Warren have got me this date to look forward to, just to, keep busy. Not to say that I'm overlooking this fight, because Andrew Robinson's, he's a tough fella, but let's be honest, if I don't blow him out of the water, then don't really deserve to be fighting for a world title, do I? So
yeah, since the 2 defeats to Liam Smith, obviously you've gone on a very impressive winning record. Probably tired of hearing it now, but
yeah.
Going into this Robinson fight, knowing it's obviously been so long away from the ring for yourself, is it a matter of blowing him out as quickly as you can, or are you going to try some different things, maybe get some extra rounds under your belt effectively?
Do you know what? I was thinking this to myself the other day. Do I just go in and try and get some rounds? Because I know he's going to be tough. But I honestly believe in the middleweight division, if I hit someone clean on the button, they're going to go to sleep. And I believe in my power, but I also believe I got good skills as well. And I would like to showcase some of them skills and maybe get a couple of rounds. But it just depends, because I've said this so many times, like, that I'm going to go in and box and try and look good and just show off my ability a little bit. But I've got this, like, the killer instinct. Do you know what I mean? I'm one of these people who, if I see a shot go in and I think it maybe even hurt you just a bit, I'm gonna finish you. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them. But I don't know. I'll just take the instruction from Dom, and what he tells me to do, I'll follow the plan.
I just want to touch on that. You've got that killer instinct, and we've seen it in particular over your last few fights. We can kind of, when we watch you, we can kind of tell when you see the opportunities open, when you're gonna go in for the kill, but effectively in your fights. What has Dom done to kind of get that out of you a bit more, to make you want to kind of pounce on your opponents? What has he worked on to get that out of you?
To be honest with you, that's not a thing which Dom has done for me, or not really worked on. If anything, I still do it probably a little bit more than Dom would like me to, because I'm the same in sparring. Like, if I don't want to sound like a dickhead, but if I hurt somebody, like, it's boxing. I'm not gonna. It's an awkward one, really, innit? Because I don't want to be disrespectful to people. But if I see a weakness, I'm gonna open you up. Do you know what I mean? So, and I do get told off quite a lot for that in sparring, but it's not something I'm doing to be nasty or to bully anyone or to. I think it's just in my blood. It's something I've got that in me,
Just to go back to obviously Andrew, then, what should you expect from him, or what do you expect from him come October 10th?
Well, let's be honest. This is going to be his world title fight, isn't it? So I imagine him to be very, very well prepared, and he's really going to bring it, I believe. So, but again, going back to it, if the best Andrew Robinson can bring, if I don't really outbox him or knock him out, then I'm not as good as what everybody thinks I am. But just to make it clear, he won't be seeing the final bell.
We know you're obviously on the cusp of that world title shot, Liam. You're the mandatory. We're waiting for that to kind of come around now against Demetrius for a WBO title. I saw an interview with Frank, I think it was yesterday, and he said that it may well be a possibility that this fight gets pulled if the WBO requests it, so that the fight with yourself and Demetrius goes ahead. I'm sure you'll happily do that, but at the same time, I can sense there'd be some frustration about it because you've had such a long time away from the ring. What would be your thoughts if that ended up coming to fruition and you had to pull out of a Robinson fight to make sure you're still able to fight Andrade?
Well, the top and bottom of it is I'm mandatory for the world title, so that's the fight that I want. Don't get me wrong. Now this Robinson fight is all kind of signed and sealed. It's I want that fight to happen just so I can keep busy and then still fight Andrade towards the end of the year, maybe December. Excuse me. But it's just one of them. At the end of the day, if it was a big fight getting cancelled to go into a smaller level fight, then it'd be very disappointing. But it's not the case of that. It's a British title fight getting cancelled for a world title fight. So who's going to complain? It's just one of them.
What have you made of boxing behind closed doors so far, Liam? What have you made of the shows returning, whether it be Frank's shows or Eddie Hearn and Matchroom shows?
I honestly quite like it. Don't get me wrong. The crowd and the atmosphere and everything plays a massive part in boxing, and it's always fantastic to have the fans go crazy and whatnot. But the thing I like about it is it's quite intense, and mainly not so much in Eddie's shows. Obviously, like, I'm not trying to put his shows down because they've been fantastic, but because I'm with Frank and whatever. But because the fights which Frank have been holding, like indoors in the BT studios and York Hall and stuff, I find them very intense because you can hear the echoes of the shot and the slaps, and I quite like that. It gets me fired up, and I'm sure you'll be hearing plenty of slaps on my fight. It's going to be some big ones going in.
Just to quickly loop back to Demetrius, one thing which I forgot to ask is, are you surprised at all that he hasn't been vocal about the fight with you, or certainly not necessarily as vocal as what you've been? I know he's the title holder, so it's a different aspect to be in his position as opposed to you as a challenger. But has it surprised you that he's maybe not been as vocal?
Yeah, he hasn't really had much interaction with me, has he? I think I don't really think this is the fight he wants, which in a way I kind of understand his frustration because he's been around a long time. He's three-time world champion, 2 different weights. It's one of them. He's obviously looking for bigger fights, but I hope he does overlook me and take his eye off the ball, because I'm going to bring it, and I believe I'm going to stop him, and I'm going to smash him to bits.
Do you think?
So he needs to be on the ball.
Do you think he will definitely be the man you face with that WBO title? Because we know that he's spoken about previously moving up to super middleweight, and certainly with lockdown and again, with some fighters coming back, whether or not the conditions are as good as what it would have been beforehand, or they've been able to keep on top of their training. Do you believe he will be the man that you face at WBO title, or do you think he could vacate and you'll end up fighting for a vacant version?
I'm not totally convinced that I am going to fight him. They're obviously in talks, and I believe that they're very close to having a deal done for the end of the year. But I don't know. Something's telling me no. I'm just a little bit unconvinced, and I hope it's him, because I want to take the title away from the champion. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, you know, Munguia, he would be the next in line. He's actually unbeaten, so he's not champion anymore. Or is he? I don't think he is, no?
No.
So he obviously just gave up his belt. He's unbeaten. He's a fantastic fighter. He's young, hungry, and he brings a lot to the table. So it's either going to be him or Andrade, but first choice, Andrade. But let's be honest, that's a fantastic fight between me and Munguia.
Another man who I know you've been very vocal about over social media, someone who he's the son of a legend in the sport, Chris Eubank Jr. Where's kind of the rivalry come from for you, Liam? How come you have kind of got, I don't really want to say hatred, but you kind of got that spite towards him where you want to just get him in the ring, and you got that killer instinct that we spoke about earlier. You want to effectively unleash it on him.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't hate him by any stretch. It's a strong word, and do you know what I mean? But can't really say I hate anyone, to be honest with you. But I just don't like him very much. I think he's very arrogant. He looks at himself in a very different way to what other people do. He believes he's, you know, cream of the crop, the top level. He's a very good fighter, don't get me wrong. He's very strong, and he's got a bit of everything, but it's just his arrogance I don't really like. And I just like to knock him down a peg or two. And there's another thing as well, which obviously going back a couple of years now, I was in Nick Blackwell's camp at the time of their fight, and there was obviously a very sad situation which happened there, which you know, I'm not going to go into, but it was sad for me, you know, being Nick's friend and stuff like that. So in a way, I suppose there's kind of a little bit of something there which I would like to get a bit of payback for as well. Don't get me wrong, I would never wish that kind of damage on anybody. I wouldn't like to hurt him, you know, for his, I don't know how to put it. I wouldn't like to damage him properly, but I would just like to give him a bit of a beating and put him in his place.
I know that you've put it out over socials. We've seen Frank, you know, try and reach out to them as well. Do you think you will cross paths with Junior at any point in your career, especially if you do hold a world title?
Well, obviously right now he doesn't seem very interested, but because he knows it's a hard fight, I don't really hold anything which interests him, and I understand that. You know, I'm not blind to, you know, the fact that boxing's is a business just as much as a sport. So, you know, I'm well aware of that, and at the moment I haven't got anything he wants. So, but once I beat Andrade and win the world title, I believe there'll be some serious interest.
Just to move away from yourself, Liam, I'm just trying to touch on the other kind of middleweights, and we've got another fight lined up between Jamal Charlo and Sergey Derevyanchenko. What do you make of that fight?
I haven't really thought about it too much, but I think it's a good fight, you know. And I think Derevyanchenko can potentially, he's going to cause him, he's going to ask some big questions of him and potentially beat him. Who knows? I just think Derevyanchenko he's a very solid fighter. He's well schooled. He's strong. He's not the biggest, but he's stocky and strong, you know. So I think I thought he beat Golovkin, you know. So I think he's going to cause him some trouble. But, you know, Charlo can't be underestimated either because he's top class, isn't he?
Who would you consider the best middleweight in the world?
Currently fighting at middleweight, or
Currently, yeah. Maybe you can throw Canelo in it as well if you would say he could drop back down to 160.
Yeah, well, if Canelo's name can be put there, then I would 100% go for him. You've got Billy Joe, very, very good. Probably still should be a middleweight. They're all very good fighters, you know. Obviously, Canelo's at the top right now, but I would say after Canelo, Billy Joe.
You'd have been in camp with Billy Joe for a few fights. Did you guys ever share the ring together in sparring? If so, can you enlighten us on what those sessions were like?
Yeah, we did. We sparred on a few occasions, not too much really, because to be honest with you, the inner circle of the gym, Dom doesn't really have a... Hello? Sorry, mate.
That's all good.
The inner circle of the gym, Dom doesn't really like us sparring with each other, nor open sparring in it, because he thinks, like, why does he want his own fighters bashing each other up? Why not bring other people in to do that? So we had a couple, you know, we shared a number of rounds and stuff, and very good sparring. He's obviously very, very technically good, and he's slippery and whatnot. But for me to have success against someone like Billy Joe, kind of have to stick it on him a little bit, you know. You know, punches and bunches and putting the pressure on. So, but it was good. We had shared some good rounds together, and Billy Joe's a top guy, and I've got a lot of respect for him.
You've also got Cal Brook in your gym, who's currently in the running for that Terence Crawford fight once again, a matter of 5 or 6 months after he was previously mentioned. What do you make of that if Cal does get the Terence Crawford fight? How do you think he would fare against somebody who many consider, you know, a pound for pound contender?
Cal's still got a lot left, you know. A lot of people seem to think he's finished, and he's actually in the gym body sparring today, and he's, I know it's not the same, don't get me wrong, but he's a fucking handful. He's still got it, you know. He can punch. He's got all the moves in the book, and he's very, very, you know, high quality operator. So you can never count someone like Cal out, because he can punch, and he's also skillful to go with it. So, you know, Crawford's going to be the favourite, no doubt about it. But I wouldn't bet against Cal.
Just a couple more quick things from me, Liam, on touch on. Just to go to the promoting side of things, we saw obviously your promoter Frank Warren reach out to Eddie Hearn 2 or 3 weeks ago now to try and make some cross-stable fights. What did you make of kind of Frank's approach and their proposal?
I think it's good. I think it's fantastic if they could come to some kind of agreement where they work together and make some of the fights happen, which were on, you know, which were listed. It'd make for a serious card, wouldn't it? And it'd be some crazy interest. So, yeah, as I say, a lot of the fights on there would be very, very good, outstanding fights. So let's hope they can sit down and maybe put something in place where they can make it happen.
2 of those guys in Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce were mentioning the cross-table fights, but them 2 are lined up to face each other first. What do you make of their clash, Liam? Who do you think will come out on top, Daniel Dubois or Joe Joyce?
I think Daniel Dubois is going to come out on top. I'll be straight. But I've never really given too many answers on that fight, because I like Joe Joyce. He's a really nice fella. Shared a little bit of time with him. Not camps or anything like that, but when I've been at a couple of boxing shows, and you know, we've shared like a taxi together and stuff like that on the way to the venue, and he's a top bloke, and he's a really nice guy and a good fighter to go with it. But I think Dubois, he's at the moment he's just looking like a wrecking machine, isn't he? And he's still young and progressing. So I just think he'd be a bit young, a bit fresh, and he's gonna, you know, he's gonna land at some point, and there's not really anybody yet who's proven to take one of them big shots. So we'll see if Joyce can take them the same as the others.
Final thing from me, Liam, and just sticking with that heavyweight division. Just over a week ago, we saw a stunning fifth-round knockout victory for Alexander Povetkin against Dillian Whyte. What did you make of their fight, and of course the stoppage?
Absolutely gutted for Dillian, you know, because I was speaking to him just a couple of days before, and I've got a bit of a thing for him, without sounding strange. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Dillian Whyte. He's just a really nice fella, and you know, he's hardworking. He hasn't had it easy. He's been waiting a long time for a shot, and let's be honest, if he didn't get messed around so much, that fight would have never even happened. Because he should have fought for a world title well before now. So, but anyway, it did happen, and he was well. I thought he was controlling the fight. Just got a bit too sucked in. I think Dillian thought he had him finished, which many people did, and he just got a little bit greedy. And he got caught. So it's heavyweight boxing, you know, and it takes one shot and it turns everything on his head, doesn't it? So it's one of them. I fully believe that Dillian will come back better for it, just like he did after the loss for Joshua. And it's going to give him more hunger. And I think next time he's going to come back and he's going to stop Povetkin.
Liam, we will leave it there now, and I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening. But final word to yourself, a message to your best friend Chris Eubank Jr. or Demetrius Andrade or the rest of the middleweight division. What would you like to say to everybody?
Just nothing really. Just that.
Liam, it's been a
pleasure. Be ready, because I'm coming.
It's been a pleasure to catch up with you, Liam. I will leave you, like I say. Thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Good man. Thank you, mate.